Hey guys, welcome back to Truckin' Outdoors. Back in the garage again, working on the Humvee, making some good progress. Ran into a snag last time. We had positives and negatives from our last excursion in the garage. And I'm gonna get into that. I'll show you what I did and what I found, and let you come along with getting this thing back up and running today. So, welcome back to Truckin' Outdoors. Let's get at it. So here's what I've done since we were last together. And if you haven't watched the previous Humvee build episodes, go back and look at that. Look at all the videos. There's not a whole lot of them out there at this point. There will be a lot more if this is a few years down the road, but whatever. If you're brand new, welcome. So let's get into it. Look at that. The deer are hungry. Few deer up there. Anyway, back to the Humvee. All right, so I don't know if I mentioned this or showed this before, but what do you guys think of my temporary exhaust system? This has helped me not die in the testing phase. So that's always a good thing. So one of the things I finally got completed was we now have a working oil pressure gauge. Part of it was absolutely my fault. I got a big box of gauge parts, and they had their own specific sending unit that screws in right down there that I was not aware was in the box. So that's my bad. Bought myself a sending unit, but took it back. Once I plugged that in, hooked it all up, she works just fine. And I'll tell you what, this engine is tight. It is tight. 80 pounds of oil pressure at idle. So she's a rock star. This is going to be an awesome motor. I thought that was cool. Anyway, as I was starting it, stopping it, letting it idle, I was working on getting the temperature. I wanted to bring her up to temperature now that I knew I had oil pressure. Wanted to bring her up to temperature and test this sending unit. Turns out that sending unit was not correct. So I got somewhere in this mess. I have a new sending unit for that I know will work because it came with this gauge. Once I figured out the sending unit for this came in the box, I started looking, and sure enough, it's got its own specific sending unit for that and its own sensor for the tachometer. So we're going to have all these gauges up and running today, or at least in this video. Also, I have fuel cell that I get to install. So we're going to have all of them working. Anywho, I was getting this thing up to temperature. Noticed that the transmission was a little low on fluid. So I threw about 4 quarts of Dextron 6 in the old shift machine while she was idling. Brought her up to level. It was great. Well, you know what I found out? Dextron 6 does not mix with regular ATF. Let me show you what I mean. We got damage in the oil pan right here. But the Dextron 6 does not play well with others. And I'm assuming that the shop had just standard ATF in here, and it turned it into strawberry milkshake. What we're going to do today is we are going to drop this oil pan. I have a new oil pan for it. Flush out the fluid and put a new oil pan and gasket on. That'll stop this big leak right here. Got a new filter. We're going to put clean Dextron 6 in here. All of it. I know it's a little more expensive, but that's what this transmission calls for. That's what we're going to do. Yeah, it was quite the mess in the old garage. We got a lot of cleanup to do. First things first, let's drain the oil. Let's see how much milkshake we got left in here. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm just watching for all the boys coming to the yard. Now I got that song stuck in my head. I would rather have these issues now than find out once I got everything all put together and going down the road and all of a sudden she stops doing shift machine stuff. Let's get this done now while we're still in the build process. Apparently this transmission came out of a wrecked Duramax diesel truck, and you can see she's been through some. She's got a lot of wears and dents down here on the pan. Not the end of the world. Replacing it wasn't that expensive either. I can start taking these off now. There she goes. Oop. Easy. All right. Get our first look inside the transmission here. Oh, yeah. Boy, that's a lot of electronics and a lot of milkshake. I did get the internal filter as well. I was told since it's down, might as well replace that as well. But I'm gonna be interested to see how much metal is on the inside of this pan. To my knowledge, it's never been brought down. So, we'll see. Put that back in for right now. And milkshake all over the yard, but we don't want milkshake all over the garage floor. I mean, other than it being completely pink, it's not terrible. There's some clutch material down in here. That's to be expected. I'm not seeing any big flakes of anything. There's no chunks of metal, no gears, gear teeth. That's really what you're looking for. As I'm sure you guys know, I'm no expert in all this, but just from what I've seen, doing the old YouTube certifications, this is nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah, I can feel a little bit. Metal feels like sand a little bit. That could even be sand, who knows? It's not terrible. There's no big chunks, so I would say this transmission, we get her cleaned up, should be good to go. Now, how does this come off? I wonder. Just slide off? You think? Yep. There we go. So you guys know, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I'm learning like you are. That's pretty much the theme of the show. Just watch me screw things up so that way you don't have to. Because I just don't know what I can and can't use. I'd like to spray a bunch of brake cleaner on here and clean it all off. I just don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. So like I said, I'm taking this clean cloth, no lint, and just dabbing. I want nothing to move. I want nothing to come loose. I just want to get some of this bad fluid off of here. Whoever engineered the automatic transmission, absolutely a genius. I'm looking at this like it's an alien from another world. The other thing too is I don't know how much of this fluid got up into the torque converter either. Maybe none of it, maybe all of it. I have no clue. I don't know how they work. I should learn. Add that to the list. God bless America. Well, I think that filter tray was a little plugged up. Time for a service. It was time. My daughter has a band concert at 11:30 today. I'll tell you, I miss enough stuff when I'm on the road. I am not missing this band concert when I'm here. That's for sure. I think I got time to clean up this gasket. And then off to the concert. All right. Well, that should do it for now. I'm gonna let this drain here, go to the band concert. I'll be back. I'm back. Concert was great. Yep, I got to admit it. She's pretty awesome. Both my daughters are. But you might remember Lily from my bad lip reading episode. So if you haven't seen that one, go back and watch the bad lip reading episode on Lake Superior. So, all right. Well, it's still dripping a little bit, but we're going to put the new pan on and get this thing fired back up. So let's rock and roll. Jam this filter back up in there. Looks about right, I think. I hope. There we go. Where'd my bolts go? Wonder what Ted Nugent's doing today. Probably not replacing the oil pan on an Allison transmission, but he's probably doing something cool. Because that's just Ted Nugent kind of stuff. Hey, look at that. I didn't lose any, and I didn't come up with any extras. That's perfect. There we go. All right. There's that. All right, how many ooga-doogas is it going to take to torque these? That's about right. All right. Torqued. Probably thought I was going to forget the drain plug, didn't you? You were almost right. I almost did. Torqued. All right, let's fill her back up with juice. Got some juice in it. So, says that it's above the full line when it's off. So, all we can do now is start her up and see what she says. And hopefully we don't die from exhaust fumes in the process. We got lightning and bring the thunder. Oh, sounds good. She sounds like a runner. Sucked up all the juice on the stick, so she's gonna have to get more. Eyes are burning. Oh, that diesel smoke is right. I gotta open the garage door. It feels like Feels like it almost wants to move. I hope I'm in park. I think I'm in park. That wouldn't be fun. Another thing I wanted to try was the power steering. But look, the power steering reservoir was completely empty. And that's what runs, again, that's what runs all of this hydro boost. So, I got her filled up. No. It's still not there. Yeah. Dry. I think I'm still just going to have to prime the system. Lots of fluid. Alright. See what we got here. Oh, it wants to. Oh, it's real sluggish. It was overflowing. You see that down there? Got plenty of juice in her. Well, put a little more in. I think we got enough now. She wants to go. I think we're still working the bubbles out of the system. All right, she's getting better. We're getting full range. So she just needs to work the bugs out, I think. I don't know. I think it's doing good. I think it'll be all right. So here's what else I got going on. Look at this. We've got 4 working gauges. Voltmeter's working, that's easy enough. There's the engine oil. So she's holding at about, I don't know, 58 PSI at idle. So that's dang good. And we got a temp gauge now. So all we got left is that, fuel gauge, and the tach. So the next thing we got to do to make this thing mobile is the fuel cell. Took this panel off right here. This is where I'm going to end up putting the fuel cell. And I got this race car fuel cell off of the Evil Bay. I'm going to do some modifications to it. I'm going to replace this sending unit with the one that came with the gauges, because I have been finding out that these gauges only work with their own sending units. Plus, you can see it's a little bit too tall. What I'd like to do is be able to replace the, I guess, the factory little plate that goes over top of here, and maybe just cut a hole for a filler neck. The other thing that I'm going to do, this fuel cell has fittings, fuel fittings on the top with tubes that come out. I've got a sump that came, I guess, with this fast system that I've got, and it's right there. So that's basically right underneath here. What I'd like to do is put put that on the bottom of this tank and then cut a hole in the bottom of this floorboard and let it come straight out the bottom. A sump is going to be a lot more efficient fuel pumping system. If you're not familiar with that, it instead of sucking fuel up through a tube or a straw, whatever, you're actually pulling it from the bottom. So you can get more out of your fuel tank, and it just sucks it. It is able to suck it out faster. So anyway, that's what we're going to be doing with this thing. We get this done, and we're one step closer to being mobile. Boy, between the fumes from this gas tank, the diesel exhaust, and the ATF, I'll tell you what, I'm getting higher than Snoop Dogg out here. Snoop Dogg! And I ain't kidding you. But look at this. I've never seen this before. I've never dealt with a race car anything before. But this race car fuel cell has got this foam in there. I'm assuming it's some sort of baffle, kind of, keep it from sloshing around. I mean, it makes sense. But I can't get any of my my sending unit down there. I really wish I could use this sending unit. Check this out. This is that's a nice self-enclosed sending unit. Wish I could use it, but I'm not even gonna try because I just have the worst luck with these gauges. So I'm just gonna rip all this out and just put the one in there that's gonna work. Oh my God, there's a lot of foam down here. Oh no, getting stuck. My sleeve's stuck. The guy on eBay told me there'd never been gas in this thing. Yeah, imagine that. eBay. Somebody on eBay wasn't honest. That is weird. Never would have thought that. If anybody needs any race car fuel tank baffle foam, comment below. Let me know. I'll send it to you.
The next day.
Well, good morning. We're back out here in the Truck and Outdoor Shop, aka my garage. Got to working on the fuel tank last night. Ended up working until, I don't know, I guess time to put the girls to bed. Getting the fuel tank prepped up. Hopefully we can get this fuel tank buttoned up today and maybe a couple other things. All right, so here's the tank and it's gonna be in its final location. Worked on getting these fittings off last night and they are a bugger. So they're gonna stay. This one is gonna be the return fuel line and this one's gonna be the vent. Got the fuel sending unit out. That's all ready to go with the new sending unit, all measured up. What took the longest last night was this down here. So this is the sump that comes out and got this cut out. Now, this does not protrude through the floor as much as I was hoping. So what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to cut this back to here, at least back up into here. So I can fit the fuel lines on without hitting this sharp metal. Once I have the fuel lines on, then I can stick something, I don't know, stick something underneath there, kind of cover that hole a little bit. And I'll probably putty all of this stuff up so it doesn't leak so bad. But that's the plan. So 3 trips to the hardware store and 3 hours later.
3 hours later.
We got it all tightened up. Now I'm gonna zip tie these up and secure them up along the frame rail here. That's all I got left to do. But yeah, got the fuel lines run. And I'll tell you, I am gonna leave this extra loop here. We'll call that a service loop. I'm gonna leave that on there because it's a 22-gallon tank and I wouldn't mind the extra capacity. That's kind of what I'm gonna do with that, is just gonna tuck them up, leave the extra, ran the return up here somewhere. There it is. There's the fuel return line that goes up into there and comes out right there. Here's the vent. I'm not sure where I'm going to stick this vent hose yet. I got plenty of it. Next, run the wires for the sending unit. You might even be able to bring them up right through that hole. I am going to have to eventually take this hose out of here and get a rubber grommet in there. Gonna have to definitely protect it because that sheet metal is sharp. My fingers were bleeding pretty good earlier. Pre-measured the fuel sending unit and I pre-tested it to make sure that it all works. And it seemed to work perfect. So stick this in there and we'll wire it up. Fortunately, all of the old holes line up. So we are good. Well, I should probably put some bolts in here. And how many of these bolts do you think I'm going to lose down in the tank and have to reach in and grab them? Comment your bets below. Okay. I can do it this way. Put this in here first. It worked before. Why is it not working? Oh, there we go. Okay. Get this first nut on so we don't lose the whole thing down there. What the? Are you kidding? No nuts? For the love. We got no nuts. Came down to the shed to see if I can find any nuts that will fit this. Of course, this is fine thread, and the screws that came off the factory tank, well, I guess not factory tank, whatever, the sending unit that came with the tank itself, though I thought maybe I can use those nuts. No, those are coarse. Fine thread and coarse. So I got nothing. So I came down to the shed to see if I can't find some fine thread nuts laying around. Couldn't find any nuts. And, I mean, you just gotta love the weather in Wisconsin in April. April 20-something. And this is what I got going on. A nice little snow squall coming through. Isn't that awesome? Yeah, it's really great this time of year.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So I have a theory that we get the same amount of winter every year. It's either really, really bad and it's a short winter, or it's kind of a mild winter and it just gets spaced out early into the fall and late into the spring. Well, we didn't have that bad of a winter this year and we're paying for it now. April 20-something and we got snow. I can't wait to build a heated shop, I can tell you that much. Don't have any nuts for these. Do have nuts for these. So I'm going to use this. This is the assembly that came off of the sending unit that came with this fuel tank. So holes line up. Just going to use this one. These bolts are way too long, so I'll use what I need, screw them down, cut them off, done. And right there, look at that. We got it. Oh, and I got all 5 too. I love it. That is surprising for me. Let me tell you. Think that's got it. Let's see what it does. Okay, I got the switch on. Bottom right is the fuel gauge. I'm just gonna move this. You tell me if it moves. Oh, I think we got it working. And I was correct. This is all the way up right here, and it's showing 3/4. Well, everything that I just did with this fuel sending unit, got to pull it back out again. Exactly what I was afraid of. Oh well. It's a beautiful day. It's about, 33 degrees and windy, still snowing. So fine motor skills. We're in tip-top condition to be working outside with these little components, so away we go. Seriously, what is this? Actually, it looks like Dippin' Dots. Look at that. It's more like hail than snow, but it still sucks. Ah. Oh, well. There we go. I might have to bring the propane heater in here too. This is ridiculous.
Eventually.
All right, we got the first fuel in. Let's do a leak check, huh? Well, I'm not seeing anything. I don't see any leaks, so let's fire it up. Fuel tank, check. Fuel pump, check. Do a quick leak check here again. Looks like she's getting all the bubbles out. Everything looks good. First fire on self-contained fuel system. That engine sounds better every time I turn it on. I love it. All right. Well, I think she's looking pretty good. We got a long way in just a couple of days. What I'm going to be doing now is I'm going to be buttoning up the dash. I'm going to put that instrument panel up. I'm going to start tucking wires. I'm going to start zip tying, all that kind of stuff, and just getting things cleaned up, maybe organize the garage here. But anyway, we're getting there, folks. We are getting there as far as being able to move this thing on its own. Getting the fuel cell all self-contained on the rig was a giant step in that direction. I have a shifter on the way, gonna be here in a couple weeks, hopefully. It's coming out of California, so we don't know. But hopefully it'll be here in a couple weeks, and we can get, in the meantime, we can get the transmission tuned, the lights wired, everything kind of buttoned up as far as all the residuals. Then the biggest things I have left to do are wiring, shifter, and exhaust. And that's it. Thanks for coming along with me on this adventure. We'll see you next time. Until then, keep the shiny side up.